happy with GoFoil.com, Southern California. While we're waiting for the waves, I'd like to show you the newest addition to our hydrofoil front wing series called the NextLevel or NL series wings. Now the most exciting thing about these new wings is that in addition to being able to pump exceedingly well, they're all very, very fast, very maneuverable, and made to be ridden very aggressively. These wings were designed with the advanced foil surf rider in mind. Now these NL wings come in 4 different sizes. We have the NL130, the NL160, this is the NL190, and we also have the NL220. Notice the narrow, very narrow leading edge of the wing. This is the front profile view. This is the plan view on the other side. And we also have a shot of the end tip winglets. Notice they have a trailing edge cutout on the end here, and more in the hydrodynamic aspects of the winglets and the cutouts and the front leading edge. The reason we say these wings are designed for advanced riders is because the leading edge is very sharp, same with the trailing edge, very sharp, and the winglets are also very, very sharp. You do not want to get these things in contact with your shins. They will leave a mark. Now these NL wings are super fun to ride, primarily because they go so stinking fast. One of the most fun things to do with these wings is to take off on a wave, get airborne, point your nose way down the line in a section that normally wouldn't be an option, and pull the trigger. Feels like hitting the turbo. All the other wings you've ever ridden in your whole life will feel like flying a cargo plane full of rubber dog stuff out of Hong Kong. That's a movie reference. In fact, when you first try out one of these wings, the boost of speed can be kind of scary. But then let's face it, if you aren't scaring the heck out of yourself every once in a while, it wouldn't be any fun. Now with the increased top speed of these wings, it does come with a bit of a trade-off. There is less initial lift as compared to other wing series like the GL180. We have one here for comparison. There you go. And these wings tend to want to stay flat on the surface of the water and not fly unless you consciously engage the foil with a kick. So this is ideal for riding fast, steep waves like a quick, dumpy, suck-out shore pound, where the foil will have a tendency to jump out of the water or catapult you off the board before you're ready for it. These waves want to stay in control until you're ready to fly. However, this less initial lift should not be confused with pumping ability. It is actually easier to pump out for 3 and 4 for 1s with this wing. I actually said 3 and 4 for 1s because that's commonplace with these things. Because the increased speed more than makes up for the reduction in lift. The lift is created due to a combination of both the camber of the wing and the speed that it moves through the water. And we have decreased the camber and increased the speed through the water. So you actually go a lot faster, which compensates for the reduction in lift due to the camber. Actually getting back out to the lineup or to the next wave much faster. This wing is so efficient that I've actually gotten 6 for 1s with this thing, and for the first time ever, not been on the verge of passing out. That never happens. I was winded, of course, but not seeing stars like I normally am. Now, reducing this linear drag was fairly straightforward. Both the upper and the lower surfaces were coated with a high-gloss epoxy resin. Now, this moved the separation point of the boundary layer as far aft on the wing as possible, reducing the adverse pressure gradient and reducing the pressure drag on the upper surface of the wing. Intuitively, we can see that this will be much faster as smooth, shiny, slick surfaces will glide through the water faster than a rough, bumpy one. Now, the effort to reduce the quadratic drag of the wing was a much more complex problem by far. Quadratic drag is a term that they use in hydrodynamics to describe a host of other components, including pressure drag, form drag, parasitic drag, interference drag, lift induction, and a host of others. They use an all-encompassing term called quadratic drag, which captures the effects of all of those. Suffice it to say, the leading edge was made significantly thinner in order to make it go faster. And by doing that, we're able to reduce the cross-sectional area of the leading edge stagnation point of the wing. We made it thinner and more knife-like, so it slices through the water easier. Intuitively, we know this works because thinner, skinnier, more knife-like leading edge will slice through the water and have less water molecules to push out of their way, as opposed to a wide, thick, fat leading edge trying to bulldoze its way through the water. This was actually a very non-trivial problem to solve, because when you change the leading edge of the wing, you actually change the mean camber line of the wing as well, bring it down lower to the mean aerodynamic chord line of the wing, which changes all the lift characteristics and lift properties of the wing, including the angle of attack that you need to be at. Now, this leads to a whole host of other effects that need to be compensated for if it's all done just, willy-nilly.
That's a technical term, by the way. But one of the main trade-offs is efficiency of the wing lifting capacity, which absolutely needed to be solved. Which brings us to the most exciting part of this new wing series is the winglets. In order to maintain overall efficiency of the winglets were added to all the NL series wings. Now the function of the winglets is to spin off the wingtip vortices, which are always produced by the wings, up, out, and away from the main lifting surface to keep this section clear and spin the vortices off that way, because they create drag and impede the lift. Now, I know that the pictures that I've been showing are of birds and of airplanes flying in air, but it turns out that the calculations only needed to be adjusted by a few orders of magnitude because water is about 1,000 times more dense and about 50 times more viscous than air. Now, for all you physics guys out there, please don't get out of bed on a shape. I'm taking a lot of liberties here for the sake of simplicity. I know that there are a lot of really nasty partial differential equations involved in describing mathematically the hydrodynamics of the system. Now, so far, this all sounds really great, so you ask me, what's the catch on these things? Well, the catch is, this is designed for advanced riders, which means that there's a lower limit on the speed. On the GL series, there's pretty much, you can paddle this thing into the air with a stand-up board and a long paddle. This thing, if you go too slow, it won't generate enough lift, the wing will stall, you'll come splashing down, and your ride will be over. So if you just ride this thing aggressively and fast, it'll do magic. There, I said it. Today I have done what I had to do. I admitted that the GoFoil NL series wings, along with all high aspect wings, have a low end speed limit. That's the speed that if you go slower than, the wing won't generate enough lift, it'll stall and fall out of the sky. Now I did this because I believe in being honest. I came here to tell you the truth, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm here to tell it all, Senator. Now it is important to take note that this lower speed limit is relative to a number of factors that can easily be mitigated. Among other things, these primary factors to think about are the weight of the rider, the speed of the wave, and the angle of attack of your foil. This means that if you try and overload your wing with a lot of weight and not enough speed, it'll rebel. It'll lose its ability to fly and stall. Now the area where this tendency is most pronounced is with the stand-up paddle foil riders, where they try to catch the wave from behind the curve and dig uphill, what we call bulldogging into the wave. This ability to catch the wave from behind is one of the most attractive parts of stand-up paddle foil riding, because you can catch ground swells that are not even close to breaking. But it is where you encounter this lower speed limit most frequently because you're trying to battle uphill in order to get over the crest of the wave before you can go down the roller coaster and fly. For example, a 240-pound rider on a 5'6" stand-up paddle foil board might have a problem paddling into shin-high waves on the NL160 wing. The solution is just jump on the NL190, or even better, the NL220, and this whole discussion is moot. Now wait a minute, you're thinking, if I jump on a bigger wing like that, isn't my maneuverability going to suffer? Not nearly as much as you might think. And to prove it, here's the very first carving 360 on a stand-up paddle foil board ever, back in August of 2020, just after everything started to open up again after the pandemic. It was done, coincidentally, by a 240-pound rider on a 5'6" stand-up paddle foil board with the NL220 wing. Sorry this video is a little grainy and blurry, but it was taken by a long-distance camera from across the street, maybe about a half a mile away. Here's a better one. We named it the Yugi. As you can see, the maneuverability of this thing hasn't suffered one bit, even with a big wing. Now, if you look closely at the winglets, you can see that each one of them has a trailing edge cutout. A significant amount of research and development went into that. Back when foil surfing was brand new, about 3-4 years ago, by the way, the guys on Maui noticed that when you're traveling really fast through the water on a really big wave, particularly during a hard bottom turn or a hard top turn, the wings would start to buffet and chatter through the water. That was the beginnings of cavitation forming on the upper surface of the wing. The wings were going too fast and the water was boiling on the upper surface of the wing due to the lower pressure gradient. It would cause the foil to not track straight through the water and get all crazy and lose its way. Very similar to if you have a lot of play in the steering wheel of your car. It won't go straight down the road. Not a good thing in big waves. And when it went through a section of white water or an area of water where there were a lot of bubbles, ventilation of the leading edge of the wing would occur. This would also cause the wing not to track straight and lose its way through the water. They also noticed that sometimes if you pierce the surface of the water with a wingtip, the ventilation effects would propagate all the way across the wings, the leading edge of the wing surface. There's a really great video of this ventilation on Instagram. I added that sound effect to the stall horn for all the pilots out there. Normally this would cause a catastrophic stall, causing the foil to fall out of the sky and you come crashing down into the water. The winglets are designed to combat this, and they actually work really well. Now, believe it or not, all these riders experiencing wingtip breaches were able to fully recover and continue their ride by simply putting the foil back in the water and re-engaging it. What is most impressive is the incredible amount of control you get with these wings. This is Austin Kalama doing high-performance shortboard moves on a foil. And of course, James Casey doing a frontside slam, breaking out the wingtips. And last but not least, the master, Derek Hamasaki.
Just drop in, just smack the lip, drop down, and then after that, just drop in, ride the barrel and get pitted, so pitted like that.
Now, I want to make one thing perfectly clear. In addition to not being a crook, I am not, by any stretch of the imagination, what you would call an in-shape guy. I'm 240 pounds, fat, slow, with an artificial knee. I had a total knee replacement 2 years ago. And if I can do this, anybody can. I am living proof that it's not the guy, it's the gear. And GoFoil is the gear. Now, if you're interested in checking out any of our Next Level series wings, or the GL series, or even the Legacy series at GoFoil, visit our website at gofoil.com or send us an email at info@gofoil.com. And as always, go with the best. GoFoil. Aloha.